A very good morning, dear students of grade 12. We shall be continuing with the line by line explanation of the last stanza on page 93 of the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender. Children, yesterday we had read that the poet has much anger in his tone. He ends the third stanza on a pessimistic note. And what is the pessimistic simile that he has used? So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. Children, I am reading the last line of the third stanza. So blot their maps. Their maps means that don't show them the example of the map that has been carved according to the needs, according to the whims and fancies of the upper class people. But because these slum children are doomed, so show them map of their slums. Now, why does the poet talk with so much pessimism in his voice? Well, let us go to the next stanza now. Children, this stanza, the last stanza, the fourth stanza of the poem, is in total contrast to the three stanzas that we have read. In the last three stanzas, children, we come across words like grey, disease, unlucky, painted with a fog, endless night, lead sky. So this creates or paints a picture of gloom, hopelessness, and devoid of any opportunity. But the last stanza has a note of hope. It has some promises to be given to the children. So let's read it. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Children, in this stanza, the poet is making an urgent appeal. Now, the poet begins with an appeal, an urgent appeal to the people in authority and power to change the way or to redefine their approach to the way donations are given. What does he want? He wants them to be more realistic than just putting up meaningless exhibits on the walls. Now, I have already told you that Shakespeare's face on the wall, the picture of beautiful garden and the scenery with a clear sky, all this was meaningless for the children, right? So what does the poet say? He makes an appeal to those in power that please redefine your approach to the way donations are being given. He wants them to be more realistic than just putting up meaningless exhibits. So all these exhibits that are adorning the wall are considered as meaningless. Unless they change their attitude, no change will happen in the lives of the slum dwellers. So no change will take place in the life of the slum dwellers. So it's an appeal. The first line, unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their world and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Very, very important lines of the poem, children. See, this map becomes. This map over here means what, children? The map which is giving them a hope of a better world outside the slum. So unless and until people in authority will make an effort, this map will not give them any hopes or it will not show them any beautiful world. Okay. So he is saying that please give them that opportunity. Let them realize that dream. Let them enjoy their childhood days. So this map would then become their window and it would provide them with opportunities, it would provide them with avenues, it will provide them with a way to take a peep on the other side, on a life beyond the slum. And these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs, and then only they will get a chance to shut these windows. Children, there is a difference between their windows and these windows. Children, these windows refer to the windows of the slum. You know, earlier what was happening, that in the last 3 stanza, these windows come into play. And what does it mean? That the life of the slum dwellers, it was confined to the slum only. They could not go beyond it. So what were the windows doing? They were shutting them off from the beautiful, hopeful world outside. Okay? That shut upon their lives like catacombs, children, and that slum, that pathetic dwelling place, was like a burial ground. They secretively lived there. Nobody would come to know when they took birth and when they died. So those windows of the slum, they closed upon their lives like burial grounds. So catacombs are underground burial places, graves. Okay? So this is the difference between their windows. Children, their window over here refers to, now you tell me, these windows, so far the windows in the slums have been shutters. They are like shutters, and shutting all opportunities for these children and confining them to their melancholic world. Melancholic means sad world. As if they are sealed in underground cemeteries. Okay, please try to understand, children, these windows. Now, these windows refer to the windows of the slum. So far, the windows of the slums have been shutting down all opportunities for these children, and they were confined to a melancholic world, as if they are sealed in underground cemeteries. So, catacombs are burial ground or underground cemeteries. Now, poet uses a simile to compare their death-like existence to be pushed in catacombs. Children, there is a simile over here, like catacombs, please. So, their death-like existence in the slum has been compared to the dead bodies in the burial ground. Okay. So, please notice, it's a very important line. And their windows means the windows that are opening new opportunities, which is leading them to a life which is full of hope, which is full of love, which is full of beauty. Okay. So, this is the difference between their window and these windows. When will they realize the dream of their window? When the rich and the powerful, the governor, the inspector will take charge, will take sincere action in uplifting the miserable status of the slum dwellers. Okay. Break, oh break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure. Now here again there is a sense of urgency. Break, oh break is a repetition, children, which shows a sense of urgency. And what does it mean? It redefines the norms so that no place can be left where these children cannot reach. Okay, so the poet is saying that please, it's an urgent appeal that break open these shackles, break open these boundaries, break open these windows. Okay, see, I'm using the term these windows. Break open these windows of the slum and let the children be exposed, get a taste of the green fields, of the beautiful world, of the gold sands. Gold sands over here means what? Again, gifts of nature, right? So let them get that taste, let them get that glimpse of the beautiful nature which will brighten up their face. Children, and make their world run azure. Now, run azure over here, this is, very stark and powerful image of conveying the feverish hunger for knowledge, Run azure on gold sands. Children, gold sands can also be compared to financial empowerment. See, this is all very, very important, children. The green fields over here symbolize open spaces. It also symbolizes liberation and a respite. Respite, another word for respite, a relief from the narrow lanes and cramped holes. See, green fields, it's in total contrast to the narrow lanes and cramped holes used in the previous stanzas. Is it clear? Are you all getting the point? Azure, what does it symbolize? A clear blue cloudless sky. Now again, run azure, let them run freely under a clear sky. So what is the poet saying? This stanza is full of hope, children. A better future for these slum dwellers, for these slum children. Until and unless these powerful people take the pledge to improve the plight of these slum dwellers, nothing can help them come out of their miserable condition. So what is he appealing? That let that happen. Let their conditions undergo a change for once. Let them come in contact with the beautiful world outside their slum. Let them go beyond these windows that were shutting them up in underground burial-like living conditions. So, let them run out and make this world run azure. Run azure means let them run under that clear blue cloudless sky. Children, this is in total contrast with, lead sky. Lead sky means what? And fog, unclear, something that is unclear, something that is impenetrable, right? Earlier these expressions were being used, but now the poet is using run azure on gold sands. Gold sands means financial empowerment, children. So gold sand here symbolizes financial empowerment. What does Splendor want? He wants that the slum children be shown to these green fields in reality. He wants them to breathe freely in the beauty of these open spaces, and he wants that their world should extend to the vast blue sky that is spread over gold sands, giving them limitless opportunities to grow and develop. See, there are a number of ways in which we can interpret what the poet is trying to say. Now, once they will dare to dream, children, most of them will definitely seek education, right? And once they will realize the power of education, you never know, they might achieve that financial empowerment, isn't it? Here, gold sands can mean the financial empowerment that the children could achieve, and it could also mean that let them run freely on those gold sands, on those beach, which symbolizes freedom, and let their tongues run naked into books. So, and give them opportunity to read. Okay, the poet hopes that these students should be truly allowed real education. And what is real education? It's a form of free exploration. The image of naked tongue here is stark and powerful. Now, it's a very powerful image, children. The naked tongue, what does it convey or what does it symbolize? It symbolizes the feverish hunger for knowledge and growth with which children must read. The poet is saying that there should be a sincere urge even in these children to learn, to grow, to develop, okay, and to achieve something in life. So let that feverish hunger for knowledge be inside them, develop inside them, and let them read with that feverish hunger for knowledge. He wants naked tongues to run freely, delving deep into the donated books. So he wants them to, like with hungry tongue, they should eat up or take in all the knowledge that is being provided. And how it is being provided? Of course, through the donated books. without suffering from malnutrition, without suffering from any disease or injustice or fear. He wants them to truly explore the books. He wants them to explore the maps and themselves. They first have to study themselves. They first have to explore themselves, and then can they relate themselves to these books, to these maps. In other words, they should be given a real chance to pursue education and not just be tempted by the unattainable aspirations. Very, very important line, children. I am explaining it to you again what I have said. It means that they should be given a real chance to pursue education, to get that education. They should not be given temptations. They should not be lured, lured towards something that is unattainable, something that is unachievable. The dreams should be within their reach. Hence, they should be given real education. Okay. The white and green leaves open. Children, the white and green leaves open could mean the books, and it could also mean dollars. Again, see. So, how the literal meaning could be the green leaves over here could mean the greenery. It could mean the greenery outside. Yes, the green leaves means let them freely run in those green leaves. That means in the nature outside. Or it could also mean financial empowerment, dollars, green leaves. Okay. Open history, theirs whose language is the sun. Children, this is a metaphor used here, and what does it mean? The poet appeals that the poet over here, children, ends the poem on a very positive note, and he wants opportunities to be available for these children. What does he want? He wants that opportunities should be available for these children, as those who strive for knowledge are the ones who create history. Very, very important, children. For those who strive for knowledge create history. Stephen concludes the poem with a beautiful metaphor, children, that history is theirs whose language is the sun. This world is not ruled by the dumb and the driven, children. Please remember, this world is not ruled by the dumb and the driven. Dumb and the driven means the meek and the submissive. Only those who speak with confidence, who speak with power and authority, are the ones who are heard and obeyed. So their language must have the warmth and power of the sun. Okay? Because the powerful people are the ones who are heard and obeyed. So let the language have the warmth and the power of the sun. Sun is powerful, right? It's a powerful symbol of nature, shining brightly on everything, casting its influence on everything, right? So let these children develop the attitude of the sun. Let them influence and let them be heard and obeyed. For once, give them that chance. So he is making this urgent appeal to the governor, to the inspector, and all the lawmakers in the society. With this, children, we come to the end of the line-by-line explanation of the poem. If you haven't watched or missed out any of the videos, please go and watch it. You will not be able to understand otherwise, children. The last stanza that we have done is in total contrast with the previous three stanzas. Now, how is it in total contrast? You will be taking down the notes. You will be writing it in your own words. This will be your assignment. Again, you will be writing down the poetic devices contained in the fourth stanza. You will be talking about the urgent appeal that the poet makes, and you will also talk about how this last stanza stands in complete contrast to the previous 3 stanzas? Which words bring out the contrasting idea? Okay, there is contrasting idea contained, children. So, which words bring out that idea? So, I have given you your assignment. Please go through the video lessons. If there is any doubt, please ask me. Thank you, class.